Hello, 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 friends out there in social media land. Welcome back for another lovely episode of the weekly Wine Flights Cellar Chats here at Second Glass. My name's Chris. We're in the cellar. We're going to California, and we're playing it hipster style. That's right. We're going to dive into what do these young, hip, cool people with fedoras and funky glasses... Wait a minute. That's me. What are they loving? What are they driving on? And why is it so delicious? So this week, without further ado, also in advance, I do apologize if I sneeze or it sounds like I'm slowly dying from the world of pollen. In case you didn't know, it's not comfortable outside as far as pollen goes, but temperature-wise, it's beautiful and it's fantastic. I mean, outside of the fact that we're going to get some serious rain this weekend, it's some of the best weather we've had all year, in my opinion. But maybe I'm just ready for it to not be swelteringly hot. All right, moving on. We are, like I said, going to California, and we're going to start out with, you guessed it, everyone's favorite bubbles for the hipster crowd, Pétillant, with the lovely Cruse Wine Co. We're going to drive down to the Santa Barbara region, specifically to Ynez, have a little Lieu, Chenin, Blanc, and then we're going to make our way halfway back up to the San Benito, just outside Sacramento, for a little Trousseau Noir from Adroît. So let's get into it. So if you're not familiar with any of these things, or you're like, I don't understand, why are you calling this hipster juice? I will kind of explain a little bit. I mean, it's not really a term I like to throw around too much, at least not in serious conversation. However, these are grape varieties or styles that have really been very much associated with kind of the younger generation of wine drinkers, or quote unquote hipster, or, you know, the millennial version of hippies. It's essentially what we are, just what we are. Apparently I've been put into this category. I don't attempt to be this. I fall into it. I look like it. I wear the hat. I got all the things. It's fine. I'm good with it. Moving on. So Pétillant, which we've talked about pretty extensively on here. Actually, all of these we've talked about pretty extensively on here. Really, has origins dating way back. It is, often referred to as ancestral method throughout France and in parts of Italy. It is a single fermentation sparkling wine. It became prominent again kind of with the natural wine movement, due to the fact that it goes through one fermentation, rarely has any additives because of the way that it's produced. You're bottling a wine that's unfinished, so you can't really dose it with any SO2. You have to have really clean vineyards because you need that living bacteria to really make the wines delicious and for them to actually do what they need to do. But again, sorry, the label here, Cruse, some of my favorites in the business. Comes from the Ricci Vineyard. And this is Saint Laurent, which is another one of those grape varieties, has a really old tradition in California. It's a German-Austrian grape variety, but there was a long history of Austrian and German immigrants long before, the French varieties took over. And this, for me, in Cruse's portfolio of sparkling wines, is one of my favorites to drink. I think that it just has so much pleasure to give for the price point and for the style. It's a Pétillant that I think if you've had Pétillants and you didn't like them, this could change your mind about them, which is always fun. At the end of the day, they are fun, easy, bubbly wines that are meant for brunch, breakfast, hanging out with friends, and, they kind of take what's the word I'm looking for? They take the snobbery out of wine, which is usually what the younger crowd is trying to do. Sorry, I'm getting notifications as I'm doing this, and they're popping up and they're annoying. On the nose, beautiful kind of raspberry characteristics, a little bit of citrus, mineral, beautiful. I mean, look at that color. A little bit of skin contact here to give it a nice rosé. Saint Laurent is a red grape, in case you didn't figure that out. Oh, wow. Juicy, bright, mineral, fresh. I mean, essentially, just Google what hipsters like to drink, and I just listed all of them. Juicy, bright, mineral, fresh, has bubbles, made naturally. But you know what? There's something to it. The wines are great. They're super fun. They're very approachable. And again, it's about that idea of taking a little bit of the snobbish too seriousness out of wine. Like, the wine is serious, they take it very seriously, they work very hard to make this wine delicious, but you don't have to be snobby. It doesn't have to be in this fancy setting. Just pop a bottle, drink it, enjoy it, have a great time, and share with friends, which is what we should all be doing. Again, that was the Cruse Wine Co. St. Laurent Pétillant Naturel. That comes from the Ricci Vineyard in Carneros. Heading down to the Santa Barbara area for Lieu. So this is a project that was, started, excuse me, I want to say early 2000s with two good buddies. It's now run by Justin Willett, who also has Tyler Winery. And this is kind of an ode to the Loire Valley. They only work with grape varieties that are found in the Loire, here grown in Santa Barbara. And craft these just totally quaffable, delicious, affordable wines. Chenin Blanc from Lieu has certainly been, like, I would say, the most hipster of hipster white grapes. It is like the champion. Everybody wants to drink Chenin Blanc. Well, everybody. All of the hipster crowd, if you will, wants to jump on the bandwagon for good reason. Again, the wine gets overlooked, primarily coming from the Loire Valley. The most serious drinkers are looking at Sauvignon Blanc, specifically Sancerre, but there is more Chenin Blanc grown throughout the Loire than there is Sauvignon Blanc, and the wines are exceptional. And they range from bone dry to dessert level sweetness. Here, these guys make a really balanced kind of like orange marmalade, orange blossom driven style. Again, plenty of richness. This is a Chenin Blanc that, for me, for drinkers who really love Chardonnay, but maybe want something that's a touch lighter, this is a great way to go. It's got that textural element that I think Chardonnay drinkers really love, but also has plenty of freshness and isn't heavy or cloying on the palate. Wow. So good. I like the Lieu lineup a lot. They make a great Milan, they make a Cab Franc, but the Chenin Blanc for me has always been really special. I think it's one of the better examples of California Chenin Blanc. Oftentimes people will over oak Chenin Blanc and it becomes, it loses all those really interesting characteristics that make it fun and delicious. Here, done really well. I do believe they use some neutral oak barrels, but a lot of concrete and stainless steel fermentations. Just clean, fresh, so delicious. Yes, so good. All right, again, Lieu Chenin Blanc from the Ynez. And there's that like allergy thing kicking up. It's super fun. Excuse me. All right, heading north about halfway between the Santa Barbara region and where the first wine came from in Carneros. This is Adroît, and this is 100% Trousseau Noir coming from San Benito. I have no idea where San Benito is. Neither did I until I looked it up. So we are inland from Monterey. We're basically in that little section between like Monterey, Santa Cruz area, and then, you've got what is basically Silicon Valley and Sacramento and all those places. So we're south of San Francisco. We are north of Santa Barbara, but we're still we're in that central coast area. So Trousseau Noir, again, Trousseau in general, Trousseau Gris, Trousseau Noir. It's, again, one of those varieties that the young, up-and-coming, wine drinkers and wine lovers jumped on board with. It tends to make really fresh, high-acid, easy-drinking, quaffable wines. Here done 100% whole cluster. Another one of those hipster terms, if you will. Although it's a very ancient term, but that's a whole other story. The Adroît project is a project from Master Sommelier Chris Miller, no relation, who basically makes very traditional Burgundy-style wines as his day job at Siebold, and then started this fun project called Adroît, where he just wanted to experiment a little bit with different grape varieties and different winemaking processes, just to have fun and make very drinkable, again, we'll use the word quaffable, delicious wines. and he has nailed it with this wine. Oh, so good. It is a little peppery, cranberry, pomegranate, great freshness, a little bit of like an orange peel, orange citrus rind thing going on. I mean, so good. I love this wine. Chilled. Super fun lineup to have before we get into our the first hurricane rains of the season for this weekend. And although I called it, I named this kind of the California hipster juice, and they really fall into that category because these are styles and varieties that have been championed by the younger crowd, but these are things that should not be overlooked by everybody, which is why I wanted to do them on this flight. Get people trying these wines and understand that they are just super delicious and fun to drink, and that's why people are excited about them. So again, quick wrap up before I basically fall apart from my allergies. First wine for this week's flight, Cruse Wine Co. Sparkling St. Laurent Pet Nat, followed by Lieu Chenin Blanc from the Senti Ynez, and wrapping it up with the ever-delicious Adroît Trousseau Noir whole cluster from San Benito. Thank you guys. Be safe out there. Try and stay dry this weekend and come out and support all your local friends and favorites in Wilmington. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.